This is my 1986 Toyota pickup truck, and it's been my project for the last 4 years or so, on and off. And it's finally at a point which I'm gonna call finished. Yeah. So before I show you around and show you all the cool little details and modifications I've done this truck, I figured I'd give you a little background and tell you the story on this truck and why it's so important to me. So yeah, a little bit of story time, but I'll make it quick. So this little Toyota pickup truck was the first truck I ever bought, like first car I ever bought with my own money. Before this, I had my little Volkswagen Beetle, which I still have. I paid $1,700 for it, and it was a stock two-wheel drive 86 Toyota pickup truck. It had a 22R carbureted, and it was awesome. It was like everything I ever wanted. I just wanted to be able to go like to school and back, and to drive it up to the ski hill. And that was 4 years ago. I bought it when I was 16 years old. Yeah, and it was awesome. It was everything I could imagine, really. I had the car for maybe a month, maybe a couple months before I let my brother drive it one day, and it wasn't his fault, but the timing chain skipped. The motor wouldn't run right. Going back in time, I probably could have fixed that way easier. But instead, what I did is I was like searching through Facebook Marketplace, like looking for a new used 22R, and I found a Lexus LS400, and it had like 160,000 miles, and it was like $800. It was like 30 minutes from my house. And the only 22R I could find used, like within a 4-hour drive from where I lived, was like $900. So I figured, why not, while I'm at it, make it go faster too. And I didn't realize that would turn into such a rabbit hole. I thought it would just be like an easy, like take this engine and transmission out and put it in this car. But it definitely snowballed from there. Originally, I was just gonna swap the 1UZ out of the LS400 just into this truck, stock pickup truck. And that quickly snowballed into cutting the whole body off the Lexus and putting this body on top of it. For some reason, I thought that would be easier. I was really intimidated by the idea of like having to fabricate my own motor mounts, and like, I don't know, I was like, oh, it's gonna be really expensive to have like a drive shaft made. So I was like, if I just use the whole car, I won't have to get a drive shaft made. Which, looking back, is like a weird approach, but I'm glad I did. This truck has independent front and rear suspension now. It drives super nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I did it. It was just a weird roundabout way to do things. And luckily, or not so luckily, at around the same time that I started this project, COVID started. Which I guess is not lucky, but it luckily gave me lots of time to work on this car. And although it's not perfect, it's so far from perfect. The majority of this car was built when I was like 16 and 17 years old, which definitely shows. It's like a little wonky. Everything is just like a little out of square, out of whack. But it's how I learned how to do everything. It was the first time I welded. The first time I ever changed oil was after I swapped the 1UZ into this truck. But I drove it that way for over a year. I daily drove it everywhere. I drove it from Salt Lake City to Montana and back like a handful of times. I drove it to the ski hill almost every single day. Until one day at the ski hill, I came back to like a smashed window and a note sitting on my dashboard from a firefighter. And I'll have to find a picture. I still have the note. I'll include it. But it was like, responded to vehicle on fire. disconnected battery, put out fire, blah, 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 and like left a phone number. And basically my battery cable ran through, like underneath the fender, through the firewall, all the way back to the back of my bed. And the grommet I had around it just came out, and the battery cable rubbed, and it arced, and it caught on fire. Which was a terrible lesson to learn. Like, it burnt the whole wiring harness and the ECU. Yeah, and that really sucked. That was a bummer. After it caught on fire, I took the time and I like really went through everything and tried to make it nicer. I redid these fender flares, all this aluminum. I painted it. And yeah, it was finally like looking the way I always had imagined in my head. I'm not sure how much more I really have to say. The moral of my story, I guess, is that I have this truck to thank for all the things I've learned. And even though it's kind of hard for me to look at now and see all the mistakes that I've made on it, it's still something I'm proud of, and I don't know, it's still a really cool truck. So for now, at least for a little while, I'm gonna drive it as is and enjoy it as is and try to ignore like all the mistakes and imperfections in it. For now, I'll give you a little tour around the truck and show you all the cool little details and things I'm proud of. And thanks for watching this video in advance, and hope you enjoy seeing all the little details and things. This bumper was probably the most recent update. I had a big bumper on it, which I didn't really like. There's lots of little details, like this used to be like a grill vent, and it's just dimpled now. All the little holes drilled in the wiper blades. Cool little detail. This grill is off of 4-wheel drive, but I always thought they kind of looked better. This is just a stock 1UZ with stock engine management. I'll get you up close. This core support I made, it's removable to get the engine out easier. I have a whole video about this hood prop I made. It's got a little coin on the end too. The underside of the hood is all dimple-dyed. These are actually, this is plywood that I painted with a sticker, and then I Mod Podged over it and riveted on, but it looks cool. Pretty clean under here, just not much to look at. The coilovers are a new upgrade in the last couple months. For the longest time, I had stock like Lexus suspension up here, and then in the rear, I had a cantilever that I built. So the front was super soft, and the rear was really firm, which was really weird. But that's what it was. If you're a big Toyota pickup guy, you might notice there's no longer corner lights, which I only got rid of because this side I got backed into, and they're kind of expensive to buy new ones. So I figured if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have to replace them. And I also think it looks really neat not having them. These fenders are all hand-shaped out of steel. Maybe obvious, they're a little wonky, but I'm still happy with them. This mirror I 3D printed and then fiberglassed on. I still haven't made the mirror part, but that'll come in due time. These wheels, the whole car is really dirty right now, but these wheels are Mustang, like 10th anniversary Cobra. something or another. I don't know. They were cheap. And or 17 by 9 in the front and 17 by 10 and a half in the rear, I think. That's like a 245 and that's a 275. Something like that. This rear cage is all new in the last couple months. All this aluminum I shaped way back when, like probably 2 or 3 years ago at this point. All these lift up. That's my fuel tank under there. These are actually screen printing frames. I used to make a lot of t-shirts and I had a lot of screen printing frames laying around. You can still see there's still like plastisol in there and ink and whatnot. But I think that was a cool detail to leave. I used to have a cantilever back here. This just seems simpler. So that's all new. Those lift up. That one I keep tools under, and that one's just my battery. This milk sticker was probably one of the first ones I ever made, and it's been on there since I got this truck. It's looking a little rugged, but I think it's a cool kind of a memento, I guess. The inside has never been that nice. It's hard with the Lexus floor, and I'm a tall guy, and it's a really small cab to make this all work. But this is what it currently, this is a little loose, but it's all upholstered. That's part of the roll cage. These door panels were really cool till I had to cut them out for the door bar, but it's still, they're functional. That's like 3M, so it reflects at night so I can see it. It's LS400 gauges, which are really cool if you've never seen them before. They're like holographic. They reflect from up here down. For a little while, it was a manual. It had a CD 009 in it, but just recently I swapped it back so that I could use that transmission for something else. Which I'm kind of iffy about, but I don't know. I needed the transmission, so whatever. Also, this is LS400. This gets weird. This is LS400 center console. So in here, I just cut it so it doesn't hinge. But I have the stock Lexus, you know, which I think is kind of neat. All the upholstery in here I did, which it used to look really nice, and it's looking a little shabby, but yeah. This is the truck. I almost forgot to get a sound clip for you guys here, but also thank you for watching this video. I'll be back working on my Porsche here soon, getting it all dialed in. So yeah, thanks for watching all the videos. Here's what she sounds like. I'll let it warm up for a sec real quick.